Good afternoon. As they always say, the sun will come up, and it has here in Omaha. As memorable a day one ever. 2023 College World Series promised to be one of the most exciting, and it certainly delivered. The Stanford Cardinal now on the field representing the West Coast in this 2023 College World Series. And they take on the #1 team in the land, led by that guy, Rhett Lauder. Day two, ready to roll at the World Series.
Welcome back. Pitching coach Corey Muscara has a lot of different nicknames for his starting pitcher, Rhett Lauder. DJ, Chameleon, Renaissance Man. But I'd like to introduce you to Rhett Lauder, the artist.
I have two older brothers, and they both are kind of into art in some sort. And like any younger brother, you just want to be better at your older brothers. So my pitching coach, Coach Muscara, found out I was an artist like at the end of last year. And he asked me for it, for a drawing of Omaha. And it took me forever because I always put it off. But then I finally finished it and I gave it to him on opening day. I just looked at it for the first time right before I walked in here and it was unreal. I mean, it's a dream come true for sure.
By the way, I asked if there was any correlation between pitching on the mound, painting the plate, and painting those photos, and Rhett Lauder said there definitely has to be something to it. On the back of that photo, guys, that he painted for pitching coach Corey Muscara, it says Destination of Deeks. How about that?
That's pretty good when you can write that there, and then all of a sudden he actually forgot that he had written Destination for the Deeks, but they are here. He's on the mound. He will attempt to paint. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, out of North Carolina. He's a junior, and there is the resume that's going to have him drafted really, really high.
Yeah, it's elite pitchability. Two-seamer, four-seamer. He can do it both. Of course, the fastball, slider, changeup. Look at the usage and how balanced that usage is. He's not a one-pitch kind of dude. Like, he can really do it. If you look about the consistency, 14 quality starts this year out of 17 tries, and he's given up 2 earned runs or less in 15 of his 17 starts. That's how good he's been.
That's just one example. There are a whole bunch of other numbers which we can share for you as we take a look at the Cardinal batting order. It's brought to you by Capital One. Eddie talked about their home run power. They're pretty disciplined at the plate, and the challenge is going to be Lauder staying in the zone and trying to strike these guys out. They don't do that very often either.
No, they don't. There's a lot of hitters here that can take counts deep into the at-bats, and guess who's up first, and that's going to be Eddie Park leading off, and he will take those at-bats deep. Now, this year, he's developed a little bit more into the power guy, but he knows that his job is to get on base.
All right, play. We are set to begin for Park and Lauder, and the first pitch of day two. He swings to the first one, dinks that thing into left field. It's going to get down. And Park will put the brakes on there at first. One pitch, one hit for Eddie Park, who now extends a hitting streak to 11 games.
Exactly what he's done all year, spraying it around the entire ballpark. It's not about exit velocity for him, especially when he goes opposite field, and we saw it right there.
And Rhett Lauder is going to attack the strike zone, right? He's not going to throw many balls. 21 walks the entire year in 108 innings of work. And so I look for Stanford to be very aggressive, especially aggressive off of Lauder's fastball, because the slider and changeup are outstanding.
And there is that slider to Tommy Troy, the third baseman. A lot of familiar names, as this is the third consecutive year the Cardinal are at the College World Series. 5'10", 197. Look at the OPS at 1190. Park's not going, and the next pitch sails high and outside at 94 miles an hour. Tommy Troy's the third baseman now for Stanford. He's the DH. Played shortstop at the Cape Cod League last summer, and it really helped. And his 96 hits led the Pac-12. Ball. Close one that is called the ball. Set the defense behind Lauder. It's Brock Wilkin at third. Marek Houston's your shortstop. Justin Johnson at second. Nick Kurtz at first base. Cesare, Hawk, and Bennett around the outfield. And Bennett Lee is behind the plate.
Ball. That's a great take. 3-1. Good eye right there. 88 mile per hour. That ball was sinking there. Takes him off of it. Troy's able to hold back, and now hitters count at 3-1.
That's a changeup, too. It's a hard changeup. 88 mile an hour changeup. Fastball for Lauder, 93 to 96.
3-1. That one is also into nearly the same spot. Park hit it. He steps on second, and he puts the brakes on there. But how about the Cardinal in that offense? Back-to-back hits off one of the best in the nation.
Get them early before they settle in, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do if you're going up against such a good pitcher. Early on, slider stays up, able to capitalize on it and keep the line moving early. Set the tone, put the pressure on the deeps.
Wake Forest goes into a shift now against Carter Graham. The numbers suggest he's a pull hitter. Make a little bit more challenging double play on a ground ball. Graham's got a 22-game hit streak. That first pitch is heat in there for a strike.
That's a two-seamer there. So you'll see Louder take that two-seamer, and a lot of times to his arm side. So in the righties, away from left-handers, he's going to sink the fastball. When he goes to his glove side, in the lefties, away from righties, you're going to see more four-seam fastballs.
Good slider there at 87. His coaching staff, including his pitching coach, say when there are runners on and it gets a little dicey, that's when you see Louder find another level. And he's ahead of the three-hole hitter 0-2 with the first two men having reached.
Ball. There we go. 1 ball, 2 strike.
David Savage, whose voice you'll hear a lot, he's the home plate umpire. Try to go off speed and down. Instead, a fastball that was up a little bit, but he fouls out of play. For Louder, 31 of his last 33 games started, 3 earned runs or less. 7 Ks to tie the school record for strikeouts. Mike Buddy had 138 in 1992. Here's the 1-2. That ball is pulled down the line fairly deep, but into the corner, and it goes foul into the seats.
One thing that I noticed early on is Wake Forest is playing very deep here at Charles Schwab Field. Usually you see a lot of teams play shallow. Wind is blowing actually in right now from center field.
Now, Tom Walter told us this morning, he said, I like for my infield to play a little deep. He feels like we're better coming in than versus going back. Talk about being good. How about 94?
At the knees for the first strikeout, and Graham didn't like that.
But it's precision and it's power for Louder. You can see, look where the catcher set up. Lee is set up more or less middle in. Two-seam fastball. You can see the spin. That's a really good look at that sinking fastball, and just paints it around the inside part.
Sure helps also that Lee is tops here at the College World Series when it comes to framing.
Next up, Braden Montgomery. Swings at the first one at 95. So we're starting to see a little bit of that Louder next level.
Yeah. But he's just kind of settling in. You know, these first, and we keep talking about this, but the first inning is the most difficult one for a starting pitcher. You're just trying to get a feel. And he's not thrown but one really good slider so far for me. The rest of them are just kind of spinning up there.
Montgomery has reached safely in 26 straight. 7 homers since May 9th and a .366 batting average against right-handed pitchers. Parks at second, Troy's off first, and here's the next one. And that is a little high and in at 95.
Here's Steve Rodriguez right now, the third base coach for Stanford. He has to notice how deep the outfield is playing, especially when you're out there against Pierce Bennett in right field.
Change up at 88. Or was that a sinker?
That changeup. That's his changeup's 86 to 88. It's a power changeup. But if you see the movement to it, it moves a lot like the two-seam fastball.
2-ball, 2-strike pitch. Missed away, full count.
Doesn't have the feel for the slider yet. But that's what we heard about Louder, right? He pitches almost like a big leaguer. He figures out what's kind of working for him, and he'll just kind of go to work from that point forward. Trust in what he has that particular day, but continue to throw the slider when he needs to, and hopefully it will come for him later on.
Big pitch here in the first on a 3-2. That sails high, and the bases are loaded. A rare walk for Rhett Louder. Boy, how important is it for Stanford and the Cardinals to take advantage of this?
Yeah, you don't know how many opportunities you'll get against a real ace, right? A real #1 kind of dude. A lot of times, if you're going to get him, you're going to get him early, because when Louder settles into that rhythm, he'll be a lot tougher. But the ace is loaded and only 1 out.
Well, they haven't been here since 1955. They're not Stanford. They weren't here last year or the year before. So this whole experience is brand new for these Demon Deacons. And Corey Muscara, the pitching coach, who's in his 2nd year there, is out to talk to the whole infield, trying to settle them down.
Yeah, you hadn't been here a while, right? And you're the #1 team in the country. So that brings a little bit more pressure to it.
How did a guy like Louder end up at Wake Forest? It's a good story. Their associate head coach was eating at a Lone Star Steakhouse in the summer of '19 when a guy named Don Hutchins, who was a travel ball coach, was at the same restaurant. And before Billy Salento got up to leave, Hutchins said, "Rhett Louder." Like, that's all he said. He was a rising senior. There was no real interest in this guy from Division I power schools. And Hutchins said, "I promise, if you take this kid, he's going to be a first-team All-ACC pitcher." And they had seen him 4 or 5 times and liked him, but they said, "We didn't have to have him." That chance meeting led Louder to Wake. This is with his first pitch.
Yeah, because he wasn't a hard thrower, right? And a lot of these pitchability guys kind of get looked over coming out of high school, because, you know, not many guys want right-handers that throw 84, 85 miles an hour come out of high school. It's just normally not a good combination, but it's hard to project what they end up being.
Big spot here, the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Alberto Rios. Really good eye there, 2-0. And talk about somebody that has kind of come out of nowhere. Each summer, Rios has gotten better and better. And look at those numbers. 7 at-bats in 21 and 22. And this year, 91 hits, 71 RBIs. A little late there at 94. That's been his best pitch, Ben.
Yeah, I think, and look, it's probably, I mean, it's a pitch that sets up everything else, but when you look at swing and misses, the fastball is only swung and missed 22% of the time. Slider 43% and the changeup 37%.
Defense behind him is shifted to pull.
Okay, this is where he's made a really cool adjustment this year. With 2 strikes, he already has a short swing. It gets even shorter. Becomes really dangerous, and this is where pitchers get overconfident, and Rios has been able to capitalize. Let's see what happens here.
It's going to have to be shorter, because right now he is tardy on the heater.
2-2. Tugged it. Really good job by Lee behind the plate to prevent it from getting to the backstop. But now a full count, bases loaded, 1-out situation. Justin Johnson is on the other side, the shortstop side of second. You saw it there, and here comes this payoff in the first. Oh, he called strike 3, and Rios was walking back to the bench, almost acknowledging a perfect pitch.
Well, we talked about Bennett Lee and his framing ability, the catcher behind home plate for Wake Forest, and I think he might have stole this one. Watch how quickly he brings that 2-seamer right back into the zone for David Savage, the home plate umpire, and 2 big punch-outs for Rhett Louder so far in this inning.
Yeah, Bennett Lee has been a difference maker, especially when you have top-notch pitching like that. You want numbers? 167 plus when it comes to pitch framing. That's 67% better than the average catcher.
First pitch in the dirt. Slider to Malcolm Moore. He's the catcher. He had a homer in the last 2 regional games and game 1 of the Super. Bases stay loaded with Park single, Troy single, and a Montgomery walk. A lot of pitches. This is 26, and it's 2 balls, no strikes.
Cardinal do a lot of this high-stress pitches to opponents.
So he struck out the Pac-12 Player of the Year, and this is the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. Got in on his hands, 2 balls and a strike.
This kid was a high school Player of the Year in California as a junior and senior. That's unheard of.
Announcing to your presence with authority, Eddie. He had 3 homers in the first series of the season. Louder battling here in the first. Bases loaded, 2-1. Pitch number 28 on the way to Malcolm Moore. Ooh. Right by him at 95, up in the zone. And a chance to get out of it.
That's just reaching back for a little bit extra right there.
Do it again. Back-to-back Pitcher of the Year awards for that guy in the ACC. The only other ACC pitcher to go back-to-back is Danny Hultzen in 2010 and 11. Wind here blowing right to left and in slightly. 2-2. Got him on the elbow. That's going to bring a run in. A hit batter. Malcolm Moore gets plunked, and it's 1-0 Cardinal as Eddie Park touches home.
On the 30th pitch of this inning. This is a pitch where he wanted to elevate 2-2. You were even making signs of it. Instead pulled it glove side, and a big hit by pitch right here.
Yeah, you could hear Bennett Lee, the catcher for Wake Forest, asking the home plate umpire, is he not over the plate? Because Malcolm Moore did lean and got that elbow out over the plate.
And here's Drew Bowser, who has proven himself to be a tremendous postseason hitter, but jammed on that one. Popped up on the infield. Justin Johnson is there, and Louder will give up 1. Charles Schwab Field, another perfect day. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons batting order. And this has been a very impressive batting order all season long. You take a look at their numbers, and when it comes to their pitching, they're at the top. When it comes to their offense, they are certainly in the top 5. Number 4 in homers with 129. And the rest of the numbers, 33rd in doubles in the country, 128. Their batting average 309. And Joey Dixon's the guy that gets the ball for David Esker and the Stanford Cardinal.
Yeah, junior right-handed pitcher. Began the year in the bullpen and kind of worked his way right on up. It's a 4-pitch mix for him. 2 and a 4-seam fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup as well. His curveball is certainly his best pitch. Opponent's hitting 161 off of that curveball.
Tommy Hawk, he is the leadoff man, aggressively swings the first one. We must have had a tremendous catch. We can't see it just below us, but the crowd went nuts.
2 for 2 right now in foul balls attempt. 1 in the top half and 1 in the bottom half. Keeping tabs on that one.
Hawk hits 354, 7 homers, 33 runs batted in, 0-2.
How about that velocity there on the changeup? 80 miles per hour. We were accustomed to 87, 88 in the top half.
He hit a homer in both super regional wins against Alabama. They hit a lot of homers in their super regional wins against Alabama.
No, this is a real offense. I mean, I know we talked about, well, everybody says, well, they play in a smaller ballpark, whatever. They do average 9.4 runs per game, but it's a real offense. And because they play in that small ballpark, what they do pitching-wise is even more impressive to me as the nation's leader in ERA.
Yeah. So just go back to the top half of the first. 31 pitches. Who won that inning with only 1 run for Stanford?
I think Stanford won it.
Do you?
One, you strike first. You put the first run on the scoreboard. 2, Louder's pitch count, 31. And if you go back and look, he's only exceeded 100 pitches in a game only once this year. So if you stay the course with him, he's got 70 pitches for the rest of the game. I mean, that's all he's got left. And you want to try to get him through 6 or 7, but it's going to be tough for him to get there now.
3-2 to Hawk.
I got it.
Yeah, first baseman said, no, I got it. Carter Graham called Dixon off of that. And get a little.
Ben, why do you pitchers want to do that?
What?
I mean, let's get out of the way right there. Beautifully done.
Well, it's pretty simple because pitchers are the best athletes on the field, and that's why we want to go attack the ball.
Stanford Cardinal, 1987 national champions, and the reason you see the picture with that guy right there, David Esker was the shortstop in 1987. Ben pitched in that College World Series against Esker. Do you remember? Was he a standout on that?
He was a standout glove man. That's what I remember. Middle infielder, really good.
Here's Pierce Bennett.
Ball.
Any other thoughts on the 87?
Let me just say it like this, Carl. It did not go well for me.
What did go well for you?
The food was really good.
Up and go get it, Carter Graham. Well, the first baseman so far in the World Series have been outstanding.
How about that play right there? Get up. Those are actually the tough ones, because when it's hit oppo on your right-handed hitter, you're not expecting that linear right there. But Carter Graham, he was on it.
Well, I tell you what, and was he not positioned perfectly? If he's a half a step either way, he doesn't make that play. But he was in the perfect spot, and he robs Pierce Bennett.
Here comes Nick Kurtz. He's the first baseman. And the middle of this order is outstanding. Good pitch on the inside corner at 93 from Joey Dixon.
You talk about positioning. Look where he's at now against Dixon. We're talking about right there, right out against Kurtz, right there on the line.
Breaking pitch on the inside corner. Kurtz a 370 hitter. And a great eye. 0-2. That's outside. He leads the ACC in walks per game and on base percentage. And Brock Wilken and his 30 home runs, who's celebrating a birthday today in the on deck circle.
He makes David Savage, the home plate umpire, look savagely small.
1-2. Got him. Changeup. Joey Dixon. Welcome to Omaha and the College World Series.
Stanford is back in Omaha for the 19th time, for the third consecutive year, after winning their 23rd conference championship. And, okay, I'm totally stalling. We all know the Cardinal is great at baseball. This history lesson is just one big excuse to show Kyle Peterson in his 1990s X-ray specs.
That's it. Just acknowledge it. Just own it. We were delaying to see that image of KP. Will be in the booth later this evening. And boy, he's got a postcard kind of day here in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska, and we're all enjoying it as Lauder back on the mound to get 8-9-1, and that first pitch poured in there at 93 miles an hour. Saborn Campbell's the right fielder. Timo Becerra, the shortstop, is on deck, and then we'll flip it over to Park at the top.
It's outside.
Down. What do you see mechanically in somebody like Lauder, Ben?
Well, it's a little different. So when he starts over the rubber, it's a big step towards first base, right? And that's not what they're teaching anymore. Watch, see, that's a big move over to first base, and that can kind of get you off balance right away. They're teaching more of a shorter step to keep your body right over. You know, the way we used to pitch was you draw a cylinder around the rubber, and you don't want to come out of that cylinder when you start your windup. And so when you take a big step, you're rocking your whole body. But he is a very good athlete, and obviously been able to do that for a very long time. You know, and I fully expect this stuff to get better. The first inning was a tough one for him. He worked out of a pretty tough jam. Only gave up one, but this pitch here, the slider, has been the difference maker for him. And this thing turns hard right to left. And that's what he can do. I mean, you can see the dot. There's a dot on the front of it, a dot on the back of it. It comes towards home plate, but he can really spin that slider. You talk about RPMs. He spins his slider about 2,700 RPMs. That's about 300 RPMs better than the big league average slider.
And ideally, what, 15 pitches this inning?
I think he'd like to do more, less than that.
Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, you know when you had a long inning, right? You know when you went 25 or 30, and you're thinking contact. If I can get early contact in the zone, I can get my pitch count back down. But yeah, 12 to 15 would be a solid number for him.
Becerra is the shortstop today. He is starting his 5th game at shortstop. Popped up and shallow center. The center fielder didn't see it, so the infielders are going out. Yes, what a play. Merrick Houston wasn't getting any help from Hawk, who was playing deep and didn't see it. And Houston, a one-handed basket catch.
Beautifully done right there by the shortstop. Houston not giving in. He takes a peek, and he notices the Hawk doesn't see it and doesn't stop. Continues to go out there, and with him was Justin Johnson, making sure the communication was on point.
Love that, right? I mean, that's what you're taught as an infielder. Pursue the ball and make the outfielder call you off.
Eddie Park got things started in the first, and there is a changeup in there for a strike with a single into left field. Park and Troy led off the first with back-to-back singles. Lauder seems to be settling in here.
Yeah, changeup, now a little backdoor breaking ball, and he can do it all. I mean, it is a real 3-pitch mix where you just don't know what you're going to get.
Mom and Dad go to their feet. He throws his 10th pitch of the inning, and that's just a little high.
He has mom's hair. You know that, right?
Certainly has the length for sure.
Yeah. There it is right there. He's got the pitching ninja earrings.
Just fouled off. Park to get a piece of it. Anthony in the net. We asked Rhett yesterday, a couple days ago, about the hair. He said, well, my parents started to get on board once I moved out, and I didn't leave it all over the laundry, etc. 1-2 sails outside. They like it better now that I'm not living there.
Well, you can see the anxiety on their face, right? I mean, we've all had kids, and are you never? You're more nervous watching your kids play than you ever were playing yourself. I don't know what it is. It almost looks painful.
Got him. There you go. And for Lauder, sub 15. 14 pitches in the inning. 13, I should say. And he get out of that one fairly quickly, and the pitch count starting to get back where he would like to see it.
Yeah, spin them if you got them. And boy, Rhett Lauder can spin that breaking ball too.
Carl, thank you so much. I have Bob Kuntz, who was a part of the 1955 championship team. Bob, you haven't been back to Omaha since that 1955 season. How's it being back?
I have not.
How is it being back here in Omaha for the first time?
Very good, very good.
Bob, that 1955 team must have been so special. Can you tell us a little bit about the team and what it meant to win?
Well, I consider it a well-balanced team. Catcher was All-American. I was a catcher behind him. But several of the guys have passed on. I still see a couple of them 3 or 4 times a year. Well, the first baseman is deceased, the right fielder is deceased, shortstop.
That ball is matched, and you can ask Mr. 1955 what he thinks about Brock Wilkins' home run, his 31st of the year. Ties him with Cags from Florida for the lead in college baseball.
Guys, that's real power right there. Not a ballpark in America that can stop that. Picture this. Go back to 1955. We talk about it, and voila, 31 on the season.
110 miles an hour off the bat. Next up, Justin Johnson. And that pitch is painted on the corner.
Yeah, Carl. Bob, can you show everybody your ring in a second?
Fly ball caught in the center.
Bob, can you hold up your 1955 championship ring and show everybody? Hold it up there. Bob, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Carl.
Thank you, Danny. 90 years old here in Omaha. 1955 College World Series champion. And after Lauder's second inning and Wilkins' homer, you wonder if that will settle things down for Wake Forest. That's a big guy right there, and a big blast on his 21st birthday. He homers for the 31st time.
Yeah, that 31st home run by him ties the ACC all-time record for single seasons with J.D. Drew, who had 31.
This is Danny Corona. He's the DH, over 300 with a OPS of 1,032, and Dixon's pitch is in there for a strike at 1-1.
You talk about strong hands. Shook his hand day before yesterday, and I was like, wait a second, do that again.
That's a big dude, too.
He's a big man right there. And it's the way he carries himself off the field as well. In the interview room yesterday, he was impressive. And answers right back with his 31st home run.
6'4", 225 pounds. 1-2 on the way to Corona. Beats that one into the ground and into the shift. That's Troy, and he low-throwed it, but wow! Carter Graham have a Gold Glove type day over there at first. Let's go back to the swing of Wilkin.
It's quick, it's short, simple. Not a lot of movement with the bat, except with the bat flip. 110 miles per hour, you said it right there, he knew it. It did not matter.
Yeah, Joey Dixon tried to get that fastball in on the hands of Brock Wilkin, and he would have none of that.
Here comes Bennett Lee, Tulane transfer. Got a handful of transfers that have made big impacts on this team this year. First pitch painted at 93, 0-1. He's one of the leaders on this team, and he has shown some pop. It's outside, 7 homers, 33 runs batted in. So another member of that 1955 team, Linwood Holt, who is still alive. He said about this particular group, he said they hit the ball out of the ballpark like we used to hit it to the infield.
They were playing with some wood, though, back in 55,
yeah, they were.
weren't they? Yeah.
That's a good pitch right there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Wyatt Langford hit a massive shot last night onto the concourse and left.
Goodness, was that a ball?
Good job by Lee to get a bat on that. That's exactly where the prior pitch that he watched go by was called a strike.
Ball.
(3-2) and a longer throw, and a much better throw that time by the third baseman Tommy Troy. We're even though at the end of 2.
Brock Wilkin, it's your birthday. And if you can picture this on a fastball up and in with the bat flip, you better take it, big guy.
Well, maybe a little more evidence that this will be a World Series to remember. There was a forecast that had rain and thunderstorms for the entire day today, and you can look at the sky here in Omaha, and it is perfect for a baseball game. And 2 of them, in fact, as a little later tonight, LSU and Tennessee. Brock Wilkin, 31. Mentioned the name J.D. Drew, Florida State, 97. He had 31 as well. And he is now tied with Cags from Florida atop Division I. And that's a battle that could play out here over the next few days. As Louder back on the mound to face Tommy Troy, and he bounced that one. 13 pitches last inning after 31 in the first. 2-3-4. Graham, Montgomery to follow.
Let's get another one.
Four strikeouts so far for Rhett Louder. 1-0, that was up, and he pulled it foul. Got to be careful of when you're throwing sliders, especially ones like that. He hammers them, a .378 batting average on sliders. The next pitch from Umcam, and Umcam watched that one go all the way by. You can get exclusive coverage of today's game from Umpire Cam. You can check out our Umpcast. You can find that on ESPN+. 2 balls and a strike to Troy. And that one is laced into left field. Tommy Troy, professional hitter, is now 2 for 2 with a couple of singles.
Even better with 2 strikes. That is just the do not give in attitude that Troy has had all season long. Average in NCAA this year was 180 with 2 strikes. This man right here on that up and in fastball, it was 358 coming into it. That'll only go up, Danny.
Yeah, well, at Stanford, he told me that he's actually had a chance to refine that swing. He's been more efficient with his bat path, with his stroke, and he has a deeper understanding now of his body, how it moves. And he said at Stanford, it's not cookie cutter. There's not just one way, and that's been the best part about getting to develop here, guys.
Got a pretty good lead, and he is going. And that first one is fouled off.
Yeah, he doesn't waste any time over there. And one of the tells that he's had in studying film and asking a lot of questions with our colleague Wes Clemens is if he is standing still at first base, flat-footed, he's not going anywhere. But if he has his feet in motion, he's gone. He doesn't like to stick around first too much.
We saw that with TCU a lot yesterday. Those walking type leads, trying to get to the next base.
If you were to go back and look at that attempted steal on that foul ball, exactly what Eduardo was talking about. His feet were in motion, and they never stopped. Not going.
Ball.
And that one's down.
Lauder's doing a nice job of being able to change his times, his looks, throwing over. Also, it's not just about how quick you are to the plate, but how long you hold it.
Graham's got 15 homers on the season, none yet in the tournament. And yes, that was a balk. Good call by Ben. That will send Troy down to second. And the impact of base runners on pitchers continues to show itself to be very real, even with somebody like Lauder.
Well, that's what Lauder's trying to do. And you mentioned it, Eddie. So he comes set and he'll hold for a 3 count and he'll deliver. He'll hold for a 5 count, deliver. And every now and then he'll come set real quickly and deliver just a little bit too quick right there. Remember, you got to come set for a full count. Oh, I said, this is pretty quick. Yeah, that's, I mean,
that's borderline right there.
I think say that's pretty nitpicky right there.
Yeah, that's borderline on me.
Tom Walters in his 14th year. He's been at George Washington, New Orleans, and now at Wake. The 1-1. That's outside. Last year was the first postseason in 5 years for Wake Forest. They lost to Maryland in the regional at Maryland, but they were in every top 10 of every preseason poll and spent most of the year in the top 5. 2-2. Shallow right field coming in hard. Bennett diving, will not get there. Rounding third. Here's Troy. Here's your throw. He's in. The runner at first does not advance. He stays there, but a bloop single into right plates the second run.
Common denominator right away in the top of the third inning is Lauder's ability to get the hitters to 2 strikes, but not being able to put them away. Both hitters, 2-strike hits. In this one, not afraid to get jammed.
You know, you talked about how deep the outfield played. It may have hurt him on that one.
Yeah. And how about the read by Tommy Troy? Out at second base and nobody out, and he took a chance and just took off, realizing that ball was not going to be caught. Watch him a little bit of a hesitate, and he never really checked up. Thought about it right there, but then he's all the way back around third base. And that's why you get at second base as a base runner, right? And you check you look behind you, check your outfielders. You see where they're at. You see how deep they are, where they're shaded. And that way, when the ball goes up in the air, you have a really good idea where that ball is going to fall in or not.
Carter Graham extends his hit streak to 23 games, 1-0 to Braden Montgomery. And there's a fastball at 94. Montgomery walked his first time up. These guys are all over social media, the scouting reports. The idea that here in the third inning, you've got Lauder at 56 pitches. You've got 2 runs already. Got to boost your confidence for a team that in the last couple of years hasn't had much success in Omaha. And this one to left center field. Hawk going over, and he's there to make the play.
Yeah, this is a Stanford offense that was really good last year, but much better even this year. Last year they averaged 7.5 runs per game. This year it's 8.5, so 1 run difference this year. Batting average very similar, hitting .319 coming in this year, .309 last year for Stanford.
And back to the Pac-12 Player of the Year, Alberto Rios, who struck out, one of 4 strikeouts for Lauder. 94-mile-an-hour fastball gets fouled straight back. It's an amazing story, isn't it, guys, about Rios, who basically didn't play in 21 and 22.
Yep.
Your development. Esker said he got a call in the winter, January, from Rios just to talk about how fired up he was for the season. He's one of those guys that just kept knocking you on the shoulder and letting you know I'm here and you're going to like me being here, right, Danny?
Yeah, he had to sit and watch, and he told me earlier this week that actually taught him how to win, taught him patience, taught him leadership, and he said other guys have had to wait too, and now he's got a group of guys who cheer for him.
Center, oh, what a play, going back out to get it, throw into first, not in time on a double play. What a play. The outfield being deep is cost Wake a little bit, and we have seen now Merrick Houston go out and get one.
One thing we're noticing is that the outfield isn't really getting good reads out there, especially Hawk in center field.
And
the
Justin
infield, you're right, has bailed them out in a major way. 2 great plays by the middle infielders, getting it done for Wake.
I think there's a conversation between Cesare and Hawk and Bennett with the staff to say, can we come in a little bit?
I think it almost has to be at this point. I mean, you're talking about you're playing defense behind one of the best pitchers in the game right now. And so why are you playing as deep as you are? I mean, if he gets that far over your head, it's probably leaving the ballpark.
My question is, their right field is 300 at Wake Forest, 305 down the line in left field. Why are you playing so deep now?
I can't answer that.
Maybe, you know what? Danny may ask the coach that next half inning. And I know this about Wake Forest, and Tom Walter will have a good answer. But to your point, Eddie, Pierce Bennett is probably out of the ballpark at Wake if he's standing where he is now.
Close to it.
0-2 to Moore.
Or you got to peel him off that wall. And that's the impressive part of Wake Forest pitching. Best in the country, and they're doing it in that ballpark.
0-2, runner goes. Here's the throw down. It's high, and it is caught, but they did not get him. And a stolen base. Ram.
I just want to say on the landing, I'm going to give that a 4.2 out of 10.
Well, this Stanford team's running now, and it's not a team that's ran a lot all year long. Only 57 stolen bases, make it 58 now.
Yeah, maybe 3.7. But he got in there safe.
One, two. Oh! Take Malcolm Moore. He's your catcher. He got hit by the pitch, and that was what brought in the run in the first inning. Tommy Troy is 2 for 2. He scored the second run. And another one, same spot. This one's got a little carry on it, and Hawk finally gets over there to get it. Cesare had to help point him to it. We'll talk with Tom Walter. His team won 52 games this year, and earlier won his 400th.
Coach, what have you noticed with Rhett Lauder on the mound right now?
Yeah, he's a little out of sync right now. I'm not sure if maybe it's a mechanical thing. He's just kind of yanking off a little bit. Doesn't have really either of his off-speed pitches, but he's battling.
And the outfield right now playing deep, what went into that decision?
Yeah, we talked about it before the game, but with this win, we need to make that change. Everything they've hit has been kind of soft in front of us. They haven't really barreled much up, so we've got to make that adjustment.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Carl.
Thank you, Danny, very much. So yeah, an in-game adjustment in a sport that requires minute-to-minute, second-to-second adjustments. Here's a good look at the flags blowing in from center field. And those infielders are putting some miles on their legs going out to get those. So here we go in the bottom of the third inning. 2-1, Stanford on top.
Ball.
Dixon's first pitch just down. 8-9-1 due up for Wake Forest. Adam Cecere is the left fielder. Eric Houston the shortstop, and then back to the top for Tommy Hawk. Better high fastball. Wild card here was a good hitter, and then he dealt with a hamstring injury which set him back, and they hope that Cecere is now starting to find that stroke, get his legs back underneath him.
That changeup has been the equalizer.
Well, and you know what's making it so good? He's using his fastball to the inside part of the plate on both the right-handers and the left-handers to speed the bats up, and then comes behind that with a changeup. So speed it up and then slow it down with the changeup. And that's just pitching, and that's kind of what you're going to get from Joey Dixon. You're not going to see him light up the radar gun, right? Fastball is 88. He'll show you a 91 or 92, but he knows how to use the stuff that he has.
On the inside corner, that's the second strikeout for Joey Dixon.
Boy, fastball, changeup, and then he spins that breaking ball in there. This is what he's done. See the fastball kind of up and in, and watch him follow this up. Slows the bat down, weak contact again. Fastball in, speed the bat up, slow it back down the outside part of the plate, folks, and that's just pitching. And then he's going to throw a little wrinkle into it and just dots the inside part of the plate. So right now, Joey Dixon's got them all going. Fastball command, a really good changeup, and a nice spinner to go with it.
Eric Houston, the 9-hole hitter, painting on the corner. He's got that pitch down too, Ben. Outside there with that 92-mile-an-hour fastball to get ahead of Houston, the shortstop, who's hitting .224. 4 homers, 29 runs batted in.
Ball. Here we go.
Check first, and he did not swing. Thing that Houston did for Walter and the staff, he kind of opened up everyone's eyes that a shortstop can play every day as a freshman. And he may have opened the door for several future freshmen at Wake Forest. They just weren't sure how he'd handle a full season, and he has done great. Now 2-2.
Yeah, we've seen it both from him, and we saw it yesterday also from Silva from TCU. True freshman coming in and continuing to play well throughout the entire NCAA season.
2-2. Called strike 3. Back-to-back punch-outs. He's got 3 now in the game.
As a hitter, this is a scary part. When he's able to throw the off-speed pitch, and not just the changeup, but also the slider for strikes, you start sitting on it. And next thing you know, he irons it out and puts it full throttle on Cotton.
And you know,
that's how you do it.
He has the ability, and this is the two-seam fastball, and he has the ability to start it off the plate and then have it run back over. So a backdoor two-seamer. And out of the hand as a hitter, right? That's the one you give up on, because out of the hand it's a ball, and then it just kind of works its way right back over the outside part of the plate.
Well, we know this about Joey Dixon. He's got a whole heck of a lot of support as the youngest of 11 children.
Como?
11. As he said, he had a lot of moms helping him out, and a lot of dads, a lot of brothers that were needling him as he was growing up. But now they are full on support for Joey Dixon pitching at the College World Series. Hawk popped out to first, his first time up, and that one is scalded foul. Really good crowd, day game here, and what we expect to be a massive crowd tonight for LSU and Tennessee. Got to believe that the parking lots may have as many people in them right now as Charles Schwab Field. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's knowing the metrics right there. Hawk has a whiff rate of only 5% versus heaters from a right-handed pitcher. Instead, he goes with the combo right there. Average is 18%.
Dixon going to punch out the side here?
It's got to be with an off speed.
Nope, this one beaten into the ground. And he play it first. Boy, Tommy Hawk flew down the line. Too close, and you wonder if Timo Becerra had charged that, would it have not been as close?
And he should have. We've talked about it. I said it yesterday. We said it throughout the entire College World Series. Ball hits dirt, you charge. This ball almost eats him up. As soon as he sits back on it, the hustle right there of Hawk beats it out. Beautifully done out of the box. But as a shortstop, as any infielder, ball hits dirt, you have to charge. And having touched the front of the bag
beautiful
is a difference maker as well. Watch this. Ball hits dirt, charge. Stayed back. Even with that double pump, it did not matter.
13th infield single this year for Hawk, and we'll see if he's got those legs warm and going. Here's Bennett. Ball one. But Hawk, you watch, you want to teach some kids at home what to do. He hit that ball on the ground, head went down, and he sprinted.
Don Zimmer always said it doesn't take talent to hustle.
1 ball, no strikes. Shortstop Becerra shifted towards third. He'll throw back. Hawk is safe.
Keep in mind, he would have been out of this inning with 46 pitches. These are add-on pitches that you have here that maybe if it's in the 5th, 6th inning will come back and haunt him.
So the 1955 team, a lot of people were wondering when they were winning what else was going on in our country. Carton of eggs, by the way, boys, were 55 cents. And the average wage in America was $3,800 in 1955. Disneyland opened too that year. That's outside.
What about a gallon of gas? How much was a gallon of gas in 55?
We could look
What'd
that
you
up.
guess?
I know.
The lowest I ever remember is about 55 cents.
I was thinking maybe 29 cents. You know what else was in its first year, Ben? McDonald's.
Oh, nice.
Is that right?
29 cents.
Good guess.
By the way, that's what it was. That was a guess. 2-1 to Bennett. Good change up, 2-2.
Boy, and when he can land it in heater counts like that, 2-1, you think you're getting that fastball, but instead, Joey Dixon just pulls the string. And it's been his best pitch. We heard a lot about the curveball. I feel like the curveball is beginning to come for him too. He's thrown some really good ones in this inning, but the changeup has kind of been the difference maker to this point.
That's right through the hole. Hawk will stop at second base. As Campbell was playing fairly shallow. Bennett's not a real home run threat, even though he's got 7. But now first and second, and it gets dangerous with Nick Kurtz coming up.
Nick Kurtz, 24 home runs on the season coming into this at-bat. This is the danger spot. This is where Wake has made teams pay throughout the season. Remember, you give a team like this extra outs, they'll make you pay for it.
You asking for trouble.
Yeah, the extra outs, it all started with Tommy Hawk beating out an infield ground ball for a single. And you can hear the crowd now start to get into it a little bit more for Kurtz. Changeup's been great, usually a good pitch for righties against lefties. Instead he goes for a little curveball at 80, 1-0.
And Wake head coach Tom Walter this morning called Nick Kurtz one of the top 5 hitters in college baseball. That's what he thinks of him, and the numbers bear it out.
6'5", 235 at the plate. The 1-0.
Kylie McDaniel has him as a top 10 pick in next year's draft.
Yeah, and question about Kurtz. Does he threaten Wilkins' 30 number, now 31, next year?
Ball, it's outside.
That's a show me. He doesn't want to throw that pitch for a strike right now. Might come back with that cambio. 10-mile-per-hour difference is a huge variable.
The key for Joey Dixon is going to be continuing to use his fastball on the inside part of the plate. And if you don't want to throw it for a strike, the idea, if you can command it good enough, is to get it about a ball off the inside part of the plate just to make him think you might, and then get back to that changeup.
A 340 hitter with 2 strikes. He rolls one over. That's a fair ball. And it'll be taken to the bag by himself, Carter Graham. That's what it looks like. It has been a heavily attended first couple of days. Big brand name schools. Tennessee's getting set for their showdown with LSU. You got Florida here. Of course, Oral Roberts with their win yesterday. TCU, Virginia. These two schools got all the recipe for an outstanding week and a half in Omaha. Given the schools, you could have, you imagine the home run derby you could put on with just these teams and their individuals. Lauder back on the mound. We start at the top of the 4th. 2-1 Stanford. Bowser, Campbell, Becerra. So we've seen that a few times.
Yeah.
And Tom alluded to it. What does that mean when you're pulling it?
He just jerked it. You know, if you open up real quick with your front shoulder, you always leave it arm side. If it's a gradual pull to the outside part of the plate, and you heard Coach say, I think he's having some mechanical issues right now, and I think that's what it is. He's got to be able to drive his front shoulder down into the glove a little bit longer.
Bowser drove that ball into his foot.
He's got that shin guard, but it just seems like that shin guard is never in the right spot. Sometimes it'll hit you right above or right on top of the foot. Back foot. I will say this. Never did I ever foul a ball off my back
foot. That ball's got to be pretty deep in on you to get it off your back foot.
I mean, way deep.
like all up in your kitchen.
That's funny for you, right? The pitcher.
You know, yeah. It is. And as a pitcher, you know where the next pitch is going?
Where?
Right back in there again.
You're so wrong.
1-2. No, he stayed away and he swung and missed and then realized the ball was dropped. Now he's out. K number 5 for Rhett Lauder as he inches closer and closer to that single season Mike Buddy 138 record.
Yeah, we're seeing at times the Rhett Lauder we thought we would see, right? Pretty good fastball command, and then just bends a breaking ball right to the outside part of the plate. Lauder's the kind of guy, though, is going to figure it out, and when he figures it out, he's going to go. The problem for him is the pitch count is really high at this point.
That'll help. That pitch count. Kurtz on 1 pitch runs over to the bag to get Campbell, and there are 2 down quickly here in the 4th. Randolph Post is in the house. It's amazing, man. You walk through your hotel, you got these little kids, got those bat bags over their shoulder, 2 bats. They're going to play their games, then they roll over here. And a lot of these guys that are on this field have similar stories about coming to Omaha when they were younger, sitting in the stands, getting hats of their favorite team, and then years later they get a chance to go to those schools and they find out, yeah, you know, I may have bought a Virginia hat when I was a kid, but I'm going to end up going to Wake Forest.
That's right. I mean, no, it's such a cool experience, and that's why they have these youth league tournaments. They're big tournaments this time of the year in Omaha where kids can actually play, but also enjoy the College World Series as well. Oh, look at him. Little dipping dots.
You guys can buy all your hats. I'll go straight to the ice cream.
Glove there. We're not really set to catch, but we got our glove. That's a great take there by Becerra. The slider that was in the zone most of the time. Owen Cobb, the primary shortstop, had some issues here recently with some errors, so that's why Becerra's getting the play. And he's shown that the bat may be a little bit more advanced than they had thought. Couple of homers, 7 RBIs, 327 average. And there is Cobb, who's sitting there watching him. Could very well be seen as a pinch hitter today.
That last Sunday elimination game against Fullerton in the regionals, it's made a difference for Becerra. Ever since, he's been in there.
3-2, trying not to extend the inning is Louder. And this ball to shallow left center, and again the outfield a little too deep to make the play. Becerra, a 2-out double in front of Hawk. And they got to be talking to themselves out there about the number of weak contact hits that is falling in front of them.
Yeah, that ball was not barreled at all, but continued the grind during the at-bat. Another 2-strike approach hit for Stanford. Hit out front. They've come in a little bit, but still just not enough in the way that the wind is blowing. And I think it's the inexperience also of having not played in Omaha before and knowing how the ball comes off the bat has made him pay a little bit.
Yeah, and what's interesting, guys, is Tom Walter told us earlier this year they wanted Tommy Hawk to learn how to play center field, be that lockdown defender in center. And so they asked him, come in, play in, so that they have to make you go back, which is interesting now that they've got him playing back.
A couple years ago, before they lowered the seams, do you remember how close to the infielders, the outfielders played?
Yeah, it felt like they were right behind the middle infielders, you know, because you just couldn't hit it. You just couldn't hit the ball. We talked about this yesterday. There was 3 homers hit that year. You know, 3 homers the entire College World Series.
Especially now with 2 strikes again, you have to come in. You have to give yourself a chance. Park's just trying to make contact here.
Cesari in left is in, and here's Park, who singled to left his first time up, and he rolls one right back to Louder. That he will make the play. 78 pitches, nearing that magic 100 mark. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Brock Wilken, big fly in the 2nd. We will see him lead off when we come back to Omaha. We're back, everybody. 2-1, bottom 4. Brock Wilken hit that homer. He's coming up, but before we do that, let's get it down to Danny.
Carl, you mentioned it. Today is his birthday. It's his 21st birthday. And earlier this week, he sent me a photo of his dad in the delivery room. And I went and talked to his mom earlier today, and Mom said Dad had to have one thing on the monitor during the delivery, and that was the College World Series. So this photo of Dad in the delivery room waiting for Brock to be born was 21 years ago to the day, guys.
There's a lot of seeing into the future with this Wake Forest program. Danny's got the destination on the back of the painting. We got Wilken's dad watching the College World Series. Change up there, and Brock Wilken, who hit his 31st home run of the year to tie Jack Caglione for the nation lead. Celebrates birthday 21. Last 6 weeks has really reduced his chase rate like that. It just shows even as a mature hitter you can continue to get better and better, and that was a great example of his patience at the plate and not chasing. And he's not going to chase that either.
Big Ben, do you know who won that 2002 College World Series?
It looks like it says Texas. Is that correct?
Houston Street.
Oh,
That's an outstanding player.
Ball 4.
That's ball 4. So Wilken, the leadoff man, is aboard here in the 4th inning, down a run. Katie appreciates that as much as she does the long ball. We got my son on base, and now we got to get some more runs. Justin Johnson next up. Lafayette transferred at 341 this year, and OPS over 1,000. Most outstanding player at the regionals, had 1 career home run entering this season. 1. He's got 16 this year.
Love the lead at first.
This one's popped up, and it is shallow right field. Campbell coming in. Now he calls off Bowser, and he's there to make the play.
I'll tell you this, Campbell didn't see the ball well off the bat either. That was a bad jump, yet did not panic, and once he picked it up, was able to come in.
yeah, something's going on. I mean, none of the outfielders are really picking it up that well, and I don't understand it because the sky from where we're sitting, of course, doesn't look bad, but apparently it is.
No, it wasn't the sky, of course. It was the lights to end the Super Regional for Stanford. A ball put up in the air. Texas great outfielders couldn't find it. Bowser, who hit it, thought it was an absolute out. Esker was walking down his dugout, ready to go get his clipboard when he started to notice the center fielder couldn't see it, and that's what allowed the Cardinal to win in a walk-off. The ball lost in the lights to end a Super Regional. Crazy a way to end it, and it's discouraging for Texas and really for a lot of folks who watched it. Jeez, is that how this is really going to end? Third year in a row it sent Stanford here. Danny Corona 0-1.
Ball.
1-1.
Danny Corona making the adjustment, bringing the hands down. Used to have them higher up. Feels a lot more comfortable with them there to make contact.
I tell you, Ben, Joey Dixon is pitching.
Yeah, and this is what's crazy. Throughout the year, he's thrown that changeup only 15% of the time. It is much more so far this year. Opponents are hitting 317 off the changeup coming in, and it is much better than that so far today. So it's a good example of how every day is a little bit different for a pitcher, especially a starting pitcher. But he's realized he's had a good changeup, and the usage is way up. And that's what he's done a lot of his work with so far today.
So Corona, how hot is red hot? Homer in his last 4 games in the NCAA tournament. 3 times, 2 homers in a game. 8 for 18, now 8 for 19 in the tournament. And the 2-2's out of play.
Joe Dixon threw twice. He threw twice in that Super Regional against Texas. Started game 1 and then threw the final inning of game 3.
Right now, Corona has to be thinking maybe that fastball. You have to look up right now.
That is paint. If he was doing that, Eddie, he just got caught looking.
I'm going to tell you what the key to that is. And I've always said this. Slow, slow, fast is the best sequence, I think, in baseball for a pitcher. So it was back-to-back changeups to slow that bat down. Get your timing off just a little bit. And when I dot 92 around the inside corner, this is what happens. You have 0 chance of reacting and getting to that ball.
And the reason is if you're sitting changeup and you have to look at so far what Dixon has done. Back-to-back changeups come in a rarity for him. The fastball is the equalizer.
Outside.
The ability to throw those pitches for strikes is the reason why they're taking a left turn and going right back into the dugout.
And it's not just strikes, right? It's quality strikes.
Yes.
Like it's paint pieces.
Trying to pitch around that leadoff walk to Brock Wilken. That's called a strike, a high curveball. Evens it up 1-1. There's some power in this bat too. Lee's got 7 homers. 2-1. How dominant has Wake been lately? They beat Alabama 22-5. They hit 9 home runs in game 2 of the Super. Their last 5 wins go 12-0, 21-6, 15-1. There was a squeaker 5-4 in there, and then 22-5. Not a lot of close games. Frozen on that changeup. What do you got, Ben? Slow or fast here?
Just slowed him down. I mean, if he can paint the fastball on the outside part of the plate, he's good. Goes with another changeup.
Doubled up on that. So if it's the same sequence of slow, slow, fast, then maybe
Here it comes, yeah.
Fastball coming here on a 2-2. Quinn Matthews, of course, the ace in Friday night starter, through 156 pitches against Texas in the Super Regional. Otherwise would have started game 1.
Ball's
Trying to
outside.
paint, and he was walking.
He thought he had it. How about that velo? 94. That's his best fastball of the day.
He wanted it too. Just a little bit outside. 3-2. Stanford's been known all season to go soft.
Bowser on the shortstop side of second base. Wilken in motion, and that one is fouled back.
Love it. Love that he has the ability and confidence to go with the fastball up. Now you sped the bat. He's been able to throw the off-speed pitch for strikes. Why not here? Why not now?
Could go change up. He could go back to that breaking ball. It's been pretty good too, because he's pitched behind a little bit differently all day long.
Ball outside.
Ooh, a close one that's called ball 4 on a curveball.
How do you take that?
I don't know. That's what always used to make me wonder when I was on the bump. I'd say the same thing. How do you take that? And then you try to tell yourself, well, he just got fooled. He got fooled so bad he just couldn't swing the bat. But 2 pitches that could have been called strike 3. And I mean, this one is just on the edge. It's a really good look at that breaking ball.
It's outside. It's outside. But how do you, as a hitter, because you're thinking fast, you're thinking the heater right there, the ability to be able to hold off on it. Beautifully done.
His first 2 walks of the inning come here in the 4th. And now Wilkins at second. And Adam Cesare. So 2 walks for a guy that has a pretty high walk rate, but he seems to just be pitching differently today. A lot of that changeups, a lot more. Misses there to Cesare, the 8-hitter.
Yeah, 40 walks and 79 2/3 coming in for Joey Dixon. But it's not been that today.
They do shift against Cesare, who is a big-time pull hitter. 1-0, and he did pull that one, but foul on a souvenir.
How big of a pull hitter? Only 8% of the balls that he's hit on the ground this year have gone to the infield. And if we look at a high home shot right there, third baseman's playing actually regular position, the shortstop position. He hasn't hit one there all season long. So they're making sure that they leave that side uncovered.
Ball.
Too far inside. Walter says about Cesare, he was as good a hitter as we had before that hamstring injury. To find his legs over the next week and a half, and they're still playing, that's a way to lengthen out an already tremendous lineup.
Up.
Instead pops this up, and it is going to get into the seats. Homers last year, 10 this season. Hit over 300 last year. The hamstring injury kept him just under this year.
Sarah moving to the shortstop side. You see him in the bottom half of your screen.
Ball.
Another 3-2 count.
All right, runners will be going here. 3-2, 2 outs. Infield communicates with each other. But if you're Cesare right now, you have to sit changeup, especially after a fastball in right here. He did it 2-1.
Well, all of a sudden the fastball command is a little scattered right now for Dixon. So I'm with you. The problem, if you sit changeup and he throws heater, you got 0 chance.
Having a conversation with Hank Aaron in Atlanta before he passed, a couple years before he passed, he said, look, I was a guess hitter. I just guessed right a lot of times.
3-2 on the way. Cesare spoils another one.
There it was. Now you're on your own here.
Been reading different philosophies on the 3-2 pitch. Is it a pitcher's pitch or is it a hitter's pitch? Because the pitcher has led you to believe the hitter wants to be aggressive. He doesn't want to strike out.
It used to be a hitter's pitch, but now we've seen at the big league level, we're throwing fewer and fewer percentage of fastballs than we ever have before. And I feel like that's trickled down to the college game, where there's a lot of off-speed pitches in what we used to call hitter counts.
Foul.
But I think if you are awake and you get some counts in your favor before 2 strikes, for instance, 0-0 counts, 1-0 counts, 2-1 counts, 3-1 counts, I think you might be able to sit on changeup then. And if he throws you the hitter, you just take it. You got, you live for another pitch.
Right. Brad Panzer and Drew Dowd were the two guys you saw warming in that bullpen. Here's the next 3-2. Runners go. That's inside ball 4. They're loaded with dinks. 3 walks in the inning.
Well, give Wake Forest a ton of credit because these 3 walks, there's been some pitches. I mean, just a ball off, a ball up. They have not offered it. Wake's swing decisions have been outstanding here in the 4th inning.
Well, you hear, guys, so much about the pitching lab that they have at Wake, and then you wonder, like, well, what about a hitting lab? When does that start to come? And he asked the coach about that this morning. He said, it's coming. We're ready. We got to just get that thing down right, but we have the money. We got the space for it. And they will certainly point towards the pitching lab as when the whole thing turned around at Wake Forest. And it's been there since about 19, you know, fully operational. But then you had COVID year, and 21 you were still getting back together. And while they point to it, a lot of skeptics say, well, wait a minute, how come you weren't better quicker? It takes a while, right, to ramp that whole thing up and convince people to come and what it could do for you.
And the pitch, not on the mound, but the pitch to sell to that young prospect to come in, that student athlete to commit to Wake Forest.
But you still got to have dudes at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
you still have to have talent, and then you can make that talent a lot better.
So 3 walks in the inning. They leave Dixon in to face Merrick Houston, the 9-hitter. Curveball in there, strike 1 to get ahead.
That's huge. Now, if you're Houston, there's no way you're going to see another pitch like that in this at-bat. Through the get-me-over one. Now it's all about the fastball location and occasional changeup.
Big chance for the freshman. That's pulled. 1 ball, 1 strike. Struck out his first time up. And Dixon having the same inning that Lauder did in the first. He has thrown 30 pitches.
What a huge win here for Wake Forest to turn the lineup around.
2-1. The changeup down.
Even if it's not in this inning that they don't score, they'll have the top of the order up the next inning.
And it's very unlikely Joey Dixon's going to see that 3rd time through, laboring here. But boy, if he could get out of this. There you go, 2-2. Curveball in there for a strike.
I like that he went to the windup on this. Changed it up, changed the feel a little bit.
The rhythm for a pitcher, for the most part, is always better in the windup. And any chance you get a chance to get in that windup, I think it's a little bit of a comfort factor.
2-2 to Houston. He got jammed. It's fielded by Dixon. They'll leave him loaded. And that's a fist pump from Joey Dixon. And they will try to stay alive. TCU.
Who's next?
Lauder back on the bump as we begin inning number 5. 2, 3, 4.
I just want to throw this out there. Every time Jeff Evers, our director, puts out.
This one deep to left field, going back. Cesari, and he stops right there.
Puts a little bit of food on the screen.
Yeah.
Big Ben loses his focus.
I think Evers is hungry. It's just food after food.
We had a nice meal down there today. I mean, it is just really top-notch catering. What is he doing?
Snowball.
Options galore, and Evers seems to just sort of miss. But you know what? He's focused. Right field. Bennett back, still back, off the top of the wall. Graham into second base, and he will stand there with a double. That was smoked.
Woo! He's got some moves too. You're absolutely right about that. Smoke to right center field, and even with the outfield playing deep, look, this is what we talked about. When it's going to get hit, it's either out of the ballpark or against the wall, off the wall. Doesn't cut off his swing at all. Charles Schwab Field, a huge ballpark.
By about, what, 2 feet, that miss being a home run? 1 out, man in scoring position, Braden Montgomery. Can't say enough about the job Joey Dixon did today against this offense, the #1 team in the country, with all the runs they scored leading into this World Series, and he held them to 1. Park, Troy, and Graham have been outstanding. You see the 5 for 9. Everyone else sitting 1 for 10. Montgomery walked and flew out to center. And he rolls this one over, and Lauder's going to have to be there, gets the good feed, and he is, and turns his shoulder to check on the runner, Graham, at third. Good play by Nick Kurtz, and Lauder to recognize he had to get over there. How long can you keep the Pac-12 Player of the Year down? This is Alberto Rios. Trying to get a little insurance. They shift on him. And he fouls the first pitch back.
Talk about seeing the game and his team from different vantage points. Alberto Rios has been able to do that as a freshman, sophomore, now as a junior in this lineup.
Continues to pull that pitch, huh?
Yeah, it's nice to see in the world we live in now, the transfer portal, right, where you don't get to play and you move to a spot where a lot of guys are kind of, I want to play. Rios waited his turn, right? He set it out. He learned a lot. He was committed to playing one day.
Yeah, but I think wearing the Cardinal uniform also helps, right? The education there is, let's face it, one of the top in the country. And you're going to go somewhere else. You might be able to play, but the education is not going to be the same. That Stanford degree.
1-2 to a 368 hitter with runners in scoring position, and Lauder punches him out. That strikeout number 6. One shy of the school single season record.
I'm with Stanford head coach Dave Esky. Joey Dixon, how did he set the tone for your team? His day is done.
Well, he's able to move the ball around a variety of pitches. Hasn't had to double up that often. Make one mistake in the middle of the plate and with one pitch if you don't throw it in the right spot.
What have you liked about your team's approach against Rhett Lauder?
Well, I like that we put runners in scoring position. Often we just haven't got that big hit yet. You know, we've had a couple chances, a couple body blows to we could get to him if we could get a hit there. But, you know, just staying consistent and constant, just trying to, like, you know, keep pushing forward, and the relentlessness will help us.
Esky, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Carl.
Stanford 1 for 8, runners in scoring position. Carter Graham with that big double. He's back at first base. Dixon did a great job, and now he turns it over to the bullpen, and the first man activated is the lefty, Drew Dowd. 6'2", 206 pounds, out of California. Another one of those Junipero Serra high school kids.
Yeah, it's a good arm from the left side, too. Fastball is going to average 92. It's a 4-pitch mix. Fastball, curveball, slider, and a changeup. The swing rates are really good on the curveball and the changeup, and even better on the slider, well above average. Making his 31st appearance, 9-3. How about that 85 punch-outs in just 62 1/3 for Drew Dowd.
A lot of strikeouts, and he's going to deal with Tommy Hawk, Pierce Bennett, Nick Kurtz, top of the order. Clouds have moved in over Charles Schwab Field. That ain't dampening the spirits of anybody that's here. They've seen 2 great games and another one brewing. 2-1, bottom 5.
On the contrary, it'll cool them off a little bit, the fans.
Ball. Hawk, by the way, beat out that infield single. He's 1 for 2 today. Look at his splits. He hits 246 against lefties and almost 400, 395 against righties.
I'm actually cheering here for a ground ball because I want to see if the defense will rush, knowing how fast Hawk is down the line.
Yeah, guys, and something about Tommy Hawk you got to know is this guy has all the attitude. He doesn't think there's anybody better than him. He goes up to the plate with that attitude. Short memory, too. He doesn't remember the last pitch if he didn't like it or it got a called strike.
Yeah, we talked with Pierce Bennett and others about that. When Bennett would say, so what would you see? Because that's what the leadoff hitter will do when he walks by him, and he would say, I don't know. Well, what do you mean you don't know? You don't know what you saw? Check his swing. Did he go? No swing.
That used to aggravate me to death. Keeping the chart the day before, and Eddie or somebody hit a home run, come back to the dugout, and keeping a chart and pitch. What pitch you just hit? I don't know. I just hit it. I said, just hit it 440 feet. You don't know what pitch you hit?
Nope.
Nope. Just saw it and I hit it.
3-2 to Tommy, and he sends this one to third. That's a foul ball, and he would have been a first if that was fair.
I had a teammate in pro ball. He played for the University of Miami. Orlando Palmero, played many years in the big leagues, and he would lead off. And when he came back into the dugout, we'd ask him, I said, what's he have? And he's like, what's he got? He goes, big. He's always big, big, big. That's all he would say, big.
Ooh, filthy pitch there. Hawk thought it was a ball. Breaking pitch in there for a strike. A good start from Drew Dowd.
That's the old jelly legger there.
I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, Sunday Night Baseball. It's presented by Casamigos Tequila. The Yankees and the Red Sox. They wrap up a 3-game set at Fenway. Coverage starts 6 Eastern baseball tonight. Sunday Night Countdown will be on ESPN. The college baseball game on ESPN2. Great night of baseball on both networks. Pierce Bennett next up against Drew Dowd. Well, he likes that Uncle Charlie there, and he throws it in there for a strike.
Well, it's been his best pitch all year long. Opponent's only hitting 113 off of that breaking ball. 32 punch outs on that breaking ball, by far the most strikeouts on one pitch.
Ball.
I grew up on 113.
That was your address?
Yep.
The 1-1. Good breaking pitch in there. 1-2. Dowd did make 3 starts in 2023. Last year he was a guy that was used 15 times to start games in the rotation the first 3 weekends, and that one is down. And a slow roller here. Bennett and Troy got him by a step.
And that's the outcome of a lot of left-handed breaking pitches that you'll see. Ground ball to third base, ground ball to shortstop, choppers most of the time. One of those pitches really difficult to hit. Hal McRae, who was my hitting coach in Cincinnati, told me, he said, every time you see a curveball from a lefty, you pound it in the ground. You know how to fix it? And I said, no. Can you help me out? He said, yeah. Stop swinging at it.
Don't swing at it. Yeah.
Never again did I swing at a left-handed curveball. Most of them are designed to be thrown out of the zone.
93 mile-an-hour fastball to start off. The 3-hitter Nick Kurtz struck out and grounded out to first.
Ball.
Sky high into the clouds. And for the second time today, Graham will retire Nick Kurtz.
Well, Rhett Lowder's not had his A game today, but he has battled in the pitch that he's been able to stay in the game with. This pitch right here, that slider. When he's gotten in trouble today, he's going to the slider. It is a good one. Spinning over 2,800 RPMs, which is 17% more than the average big league slider. The vertical drop 2 inches more, and of course the horizontal as well, going kind of right to left. So Rhett Lowder has leaned on what typically is his best pitch, and that's that slider. I had 88 pitches now, 10 in the 5th inning. That helped out, but you got to believe he's only going over 100 pitches once this year. This is going to be it.
And that's a real line, and it's not even a line in the sand. That's a real line for this staff, Muscara and Walter, with regards to their pitchers. Moore got hit by a pitch. 7, 8, 9, 0 for 5, and then that hit batter. So he's handled this part of the order really well.
Ball's outside.
Was he because maybe it's a strike if he holds on to it?
Yeah, I mean, we've watched college baseball for so many years, and that's always been a strike, right? But it's not this year.
2-1 to Moore. 2-2. So the pitching strike zone has changed this year?
Oh, no doubt. And it's led to an historic offense is what it's led to. I mean, we're going to hit more home runs in the college game this year than we've ever hit before. And that's going back to the drop 5 bats back in the late 90s.
Ball's outside.
That's pitch that Louder wanted, and it almost looked like Merrick Houston at shortstop was saying, can we get a review of that?
Tried to backdoor.
Yeah, a little backdoor breaking ball. Louder thought he had strike 3.
3-2, and off the glove of the diving Justin Johnson. So he didn't get that strike 3 call. Then he gives up a hard hit ball to Malcolm Moore. It would have been a dynamite play if Justin Johnson could convert it, and they will give him a single on that.
It's a good attempt going towards his left. Another 2-strike hit. I think he dove, and it was closer to the body than what he thought.
He's kind of got it in the heel of the glove.
Careful here with Bowser, and the first pitch fastball's up. 1-0.
What they've done with Bowser so far, it's fastballs in, sliders down and away. Chased last time, struck out. Previous time it was a pop-up jam shot. First pitch in.
The 1-0. Here's that slider, and he gets that call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bowser's strikeout rate, his whiff rate against the breaking pitch from righties is over 50%, which is why he's seeing a steady diet of them with 2 strikes.
Ball.
Well, Ben, what's the sign of a great pitcher? When you don't have your A, B, or C, and you can be here in the 6th inning and only allowed 2?
And that's what he's done. I mean, 15 of 17 starts this year, 2 earned runs or less, and that's where he is today. And that's what's every day's different.
Ball.
Right? I mean, a third of the time you go out, you got your A game. That's when it's easy. Things are working. I got everything going. A third of the time, I've got my average stuff, but then a third of the time it's below average. But I got to find a way as a competitor to compete and keep my team in the ball game. And Louder was what I would call probably his B-C game today.
Yeah.
He's held a really good offense to 2 runs at this point.
3-1. Bowser, you almost heard how badly he wanted that fastball, and he fouled it straight back. 3-2.
This will be his 100th pitch of the game right here. Bowser, good swing. He's had a lot of trust now. It's Louder with that slider. Will he go to it?
He did. Center field fairly well hit, but that has been the graveyard. Home runs have left to left and right. Nothing to center yet. And the throw comes back in. Bowser on a 3-2 pitch flies out to center.
Yeah, that wind still pushing in from straightaway center field. It is going to take a mammoth poke to get out of center field today.
Yeah, we got some guys that can do that. There's no doubt about that. They look like they're going to go to Sean Sullivan, who's ready to come in out of the bullpen. 100 pitches. Brett Louder will leave, being responsible for the man on first base. That's Malcolm Moore. The next start that he makes, if there's a next start, he will be 1 shy of setting the single season mark for strikeouts. He's currently sitting at 137. The single season mark at Wake is 138, set in 1992. We're back with Eduardo Perez and Ben McDonald. Danny Wuxelman. Rhett Louder's night is done. He gets into the 6th inning, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, both of them earned. He struck out 6. And remember, he was 15-0, but the team has been 17-0 in games he has pitched this season. And now he will have to watch his team trailing when he goes to the bench. And the new pitcher now, the lefty Sean Sullivan, a sophomore of Andover, Massachusetts, at 6'4", 190. One of those guys that they did dip into World for.
Yeah, how about those numbers? 108 punch outs, only 18 walks.
Claiborne Campbell tried to bunt it. There was no chance for Kurtz to get it. 6'4". Again, the size of the guys that are here in Omaha offensively and defensively could be a little intimidating. He goes sidearm, and that one is on the ground to third. They'll go to first, and that is where they will retire Campbell. Smart play by Brock Wilken. Moore down to second.
Yeah, really smart play right there by Wilken. No need to go to second. Get the shore out at first, and I really love that Wake Forest really takes care of their pitchers. Doesn't matter situation or not. Lefties in the bullpen, righties are coming up to hit. Bottom line is, it's not about the matchups right now. It's about your guys taking care of your arms.
Transferred from Northwestern, and Sullivan to face Becerra, the 9-hole hitter.
Ball.
Sean Sullivan now heavy on the fastball, going to use it 75% of the time, but opponents only hitting 156 off of that fastball. 79 of his 118 strikeouts with that fastball.
First team all ACC, the 1-0. That's fouled, out of play. Stanford right now starting to build a lousy number when it comes to runners in scoring position. 1 for 8. They've left 6 on, 5 of them in scoring position. It also speaks to Louder's ability to buckle down. Sullivan is second in the country behind Paul Skeens in strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. There's a lot of people behind Skeens in a lot of categories.
Including size.
Including size. Size 17 both be on the mound. 1-2. Sullivan delivers, that sails high.
And there's a thing called perceived velocity. You see the velo there, 91 miles per hour. But what the hitter sees, it's different. Looks more like 93, 94. And when your brain tries to process that immediately, by that time it's a little too late.
Yeah, and when you take that a step further, the 91-mile-an-hour fastball in perceived velocities like 95, right? When it's away on the outside part, it's sometimes 91 to you. So you can make that fastball seem like a lot of different velocities if you'll work it to both sides of the plate.
2-2 into right field. That's going to get down. Bennett's coming up, and they will hold the runner at third as the throw comes in. Good job by the catcher Lee to go get it. But how about Timo Becerra? Has not played much at all, and he delivers a big 2-strike, 2-out hit to set him up at first and third.
Common denominator again, the 2 strikes for Timo. This is the second time he gets on with it. But he loses out on the changeup. Wasn't the fastball. He went fastball, fastball, continued to foul him off. Then goes to the changeup, stays up, and really surprised here he gets held up.
I am too. With 2 out,
you got to force him to throw a strike at home.
Well, a good spot though with a good hitter up, Eddie Park, the veteran, the center fielder.
Good contact hitter. First and third, 2 outs. Do not be surprised if Stanford tries to steal a run during this at bat.
Mistake trying to steal that run. Becerra had not played much, came up with a huge hit, and then gets picked off by Sullivan.
Yeah, you get taught to go to the back of the bag. Becerra went straight into the bag. Watch right here. Leading that way. Oh, he gets out easy.
Welcome back, everyone. That is the look down from where we are, high above home plate. Charles Schwab Field, Omaha, Nebraska. The College World Series moved downtown 2011 after spending so many glorious years at Rosenblatt Stadium. Good game here. Now we're into the bullpens. It's Stanford 2, Wake Forest 1. Drew Dowd, the lefty, will pitch again. He will get Brock Wilken, who homered. Justin Johnson, Danny Corona scheduled this inning. Bottom 6. 2 dynamite 9th inning victories last night. And Wilken, who absolutely destroyed a ball to left Up and pops this one up. It's not destroyed. It is in shallow left field. Rios didn't see it, but the shortstop is out there, and that's Becerra. And he makes the play. Well, credit Joey Dixon and so far Drew Dowd, guys, because this is a team that was scoring 15 runs a game through the regionals and supers.
Yeah, I mean, the story of this one is the Stanford pitching, right? This is a pitching staff that came in out of the 8 teams. It's the highest team ERA, 5.75, and yet they have shut down one of the top offenses in the entire country.
Next up, Justin Johnson. That's a good pitch. Strike one.
And I think a lot has to do also with a lot of the teams that they play in the Pac-12 in the ballparks, the environment. The ball flies in the Pac-12. So they're pitching with a lot more confidence here in Omaha.
Right back up the middle. Great job by Drew Dowd. Little off balance, but able to find the leather, and he goes over to first for the out.
PFPs, field your position, Ben.
Got to be it. When that ball comes out of your hand, all you are is another fielder, right? And you got to mechanically be in a place where you can get this ball right back to you. And you see Drew Dowd finishes in a really good spot and able to make the play.
He's got a real quick inning working, having gotten Wilkin and Johnson. Now Danny Corona, the designated hitter.
And this is a Stanford pitching staff that allowed 5 runs per game on average in both the regional and the super regional. But they averaged 8 runs per game when they were scoring, so it worked out for them. But it's not like this pitching staff has been lights out in regional play, and certainly not this year, but so far today they are.
Corona's been their hottest hitter, and that one bends in there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Had to go through the state of Texas to get here. A&M, the Longhorns.
Ball.
Eddie Park, the center fielder, is shaded towards left. There's a huge gap in right center field, but this one is fouled off.
And you talk about their path, Eddie, too. I mean, 5 elimination games. They lose game 2 of a regional, win 3 in a row to get to supers. They lose game 1 of a super and win the next 2. So all they are in elimination games, of course, this is not one today. They're 5-0 with their backs up against the wall.
Ball.
You know what else that tells me is that they have depth when it comes to pitching, and they're battle tested.
Well, when you've been to Omaha 3 years in a row, it says something, right? The experience of knowing how to get here. And you hope this is the year, if you're a Stanford fan, they figure out a way to make a deep run in this thing.
3-2 off the glove. Second baseman's got a chance. Bowser to the pitcher. They got him. Excellent effort by Drew Dowd to get over there. Bowser stayed focused, and it started with Graham's glove.
Boy, I love this. Bowser ricochets off Graham's glove right to Bowser, but watch Bowser, the second baseman, just hesitate just for a moment to give his pitcher Drew Dowd a chance to get there. Picks it up. There's your little bit of a hesitation and a nice feed. And how about the athletic move by Drew Dowd?
Special guest joining us now, biomechanist Dr. Kristen Nicholson, who is the director of the pitching lab at Wake Forest, and we appreciate you joining us. All right, so we know a little bit about your background. We want to understand how you became the director of the pitching lab at Wake Forest.
Sure. So I got my PhD in biomechanics at the University of Delaware, where I did a lot of upper extremity biomechanics. And so I also had some experience working at a hospital and was looking to expand my experience and found the Wake Forest pitching lab, and they liked that I did upper extremity biomechanics and also worked for a hospital, and here we are 4 years later.
Wow. All right, so I got Ben up here looking at me like, let's talk about upper extremities and how it all has to do with pitching and your background, how they connected the two.
Yeah, so obviously the most prevalent pitching injuries we see are in the shoulder and the elbow, which is the upper extremity. Yep. Pitching is a full body motion, but the injuries are primarily focused in the upper extremities. And so as an upper extremity biomechanist, they thought that I could make an impact in their pitching lab.
All right, and when somebody tried to sell you on the idea, did you agree with it? And were you a baseball fan when the whole thing started?
I was a baseball fan, but I wouldn't say a baseball expert or fanatic by any means. But I've learned a lot in the last 4 years. I've been accepted into the team and worked closely with the player development coordinator, Mike McFerrin, and the pitching coach, Corey Mascara. And so, I've learned a lot, and we work together. And I guess people say that I'm a pitching expert now, so here we are.
Well, certainly on the upper extremities, you're the expert, and that is such a huge part of this. When you first got there and to now, how would you say this has evolved? How would you say your ability to integrate yourself, your system, your ideas into the program have worked?
Yeah, I mean, pitching biomechanics has really exploded in the last 4 years in general. And so I feel like we were really on the forefront of that. So 4 years ago when we first started this, we were really just trying to figure out how to utilize all that information we were getting from our biomechanics lab. And so over the years, we've gotten a lot more buy-in from the players and from the coaches. And we've really been able to take all the masses of data that we've been able to collect to start to draw some conclusions on, what's leading to these elbow injuries and these shoulder injuries, but also what can we do to improve our pitching performance as well.
Doctor, do many major league teams reach out to you and try to find out the secret sauce if there's another one of you or even you?
Yeah. Almost all of the major league teams have come through our lab trying to build a similar setup and figure out what we're doing. Some of them have tried to maybe steal me away from Wake Forest, but I'm pretty happy here and not looking to move on. So.
No, that's very interesting. Major League now going through the Wake Forest pitching lab as Eddie Park flew out to left, and here's Tommy Troy. The other part of this too is that while not other schools may have, they may have labs, but they don't have this, what Tom Walter said, this collaboration. I mean, he literally points to having a doctor on staff as the game changer and the collaboration between all of you. So shed some light on how that works.
Yeah, so there's a lot of schools that are trying to build similar labs, and like we said, all the MLB teams are trying to build similar labs, but oftentimes they're run by the baseball staff, whereas our lab is this collaboration between the Wake Forest baseball team and all the staff that they have, and then also Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist, which is the hospital where I actually am employed. And so having kind of the expertise of a PhD and a biomechanist, but also the medical staff, I think really sets us apart from maybe these other performance labs that are focused solely on performance, as we're trying to merge both the performance and the injury prevention.
All right, that's a ball forward of Tommy Troy. One more question that I have is, when you see the proof in the pudding, when you see where the pitching staff has gone and the numbers they're putting up, what satisfaction do you get out of that? What validation does the whole team get out of that?
I mean, obviously, we like to think that the lab and all the data we have is a big part of that. But again, it's more of the people that we have in place and being able to work together and the buy-in from the pitchers themselves as well.
Yeah, because the language is not necessarily easy to understand, is it, initially?
No, definitely not. We definitely have some kind of liaisons between myself and the player and the pitching coach.
They got him picked off. Boy, back-to-back innings that they have picked the runner off. What a move by Sean Sullivan. Do you work on the pickoff move in the lab?
I don't, but maybe we should.
Hey, Doc, I got a question for you.
Sure.
So you mentioned trying to prevent shoulder and elbow injuries. Can you shed light on, and it's a question asked around baseball everywhere now, 20 years ago or so, if 10 pitchers went down, it felt like it was shoulder issues. The last 7 or 8 years, it feels like if 10 pitchers go down, it's 9 elbow issues. Can you shed any light on why that is going on in today's world?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to arm care. We have focused a lot on improving arm care, shoulder strength, and then also mechanics as well. And those have had a big impact on the shoulder and the rotator cuff muscles and just helping to prevent those shoulder injuries. The elbow still seems like this big mystery, and we know that elbow torque, which is associated with those UCL injuries, it is related to pitching velocity, and so the harder they're throwing, the more susceptible they are to the injuries. So we're able to make them more efficient and perform better with all of our mechanics, but that's also leading to more stress on the elbow. And so that's something that we're still trying to figure out.
All right, Dr. Nicholson, Dr. Kristen Nicholson, who is the director of the pitching lab at Wake Forest, thank you so very much. We really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, that double apparently had brought the clouds and lightning strikes a little closer to Charles Schwab Field, and as a result, we are going to go into a weather delay. And in spite of what it looks like here, we're going to take a timeout with Stanford leading Wake Forest. All right, Danny Wexelman is with us. Hi, Danny.
Hi, guys. Of course, I was snooping around down in the underbelly of the stadium to see what these guys were up to. You walk past Wake Forest in their clubhouse, and they're blaring rap music. They're pounding coffee, is what I'm told. Seth Keener was one of those guys. And then you go down to Stanford, and they're playing hacky sack and chill. That's what they told me. And then you see Dave Esker, who left to go to the concourse because he was hungry. They didn't have any food, and he got himself a hot dog, guys. And then I said, "What'd you put on it?" And he goes, "Listen, I wouldn't normally do it, but it was ranch. That's all they had was ranch."
Goodness,
I
really?
know. And I was like, I have to tell people that. And he goes, "I know, I wouldn't normally do it, but hot dog and ranch, boys, that's what these guys did."
So really the only option here was ranch? That's all they had down there?
Yeah, he said he didn't have time to go get the regular condiments.
Okay.
That might be a new thing, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a good luck charm. We'll see.
So what did you say, Danny, just quickly? Because Keener, whose name you mentioned, is going to be the star, is going to be the pitcher here.
He requested a lot of coffee. He pounded coffees here.
All right.
He's amped up.
Did you have a routine, Ben, during a rain delay when you knew you were going to come back out? It was only going to be a short one?
Yeah, I mean, look, if it was a short one, yeah, I would just kind of get off to myself, be in my own world, and try to stay mentally focused. Because I felt like when I let my guard down a little bit, it was hard to kind of get it going again. So I kind of want to do my own thing. I know everybody's a little bit different in that regard, but that was me in a shorter rain delay.
Yeah, great numbers for Seth Keener. He is one of the Wake Forest guys, and there's a lot of guys, but you saw the numbers there. 7-1, a whip under 1, 083 and 64 2/3. He struck out 86, and just like most of them, he doesn't walk very many, only 16. But we'll start with a runner on second base. Remember, Carter Graham, when we last left you about 90 minutes ago, had a double. They had been picked off twice. I guess if there's any silver lining, the guy that they didn't have the move on had picked off 2 different runners. So they've blown a couple of chances with base runners, including Tommy Troy last inning, who was picked off.
Yeah, Keener's one of those big horses in that bullpen stable down there for Wake Forest. It's slider heavy, though. I mean, even though the fastball is a fastball that we could see into the mid-90s, he's going to use his slider about 46% of the time. Fastball only 36% of the time. But you mentioned the 86 strikeouts, Carl. 55 of those strikeouts with that slider. Opponent's hitting 131 off of that pitch.
All right, so Graham is out there at second base. His second double to go with the single. He's got 3 hits. Troy has 2. And now we go to Braden Montgomery to restart this game. He walked in the first, was stranded at second base, popped out to center, and then went first to the pitcher covering. So a 2-1 ball game, Stanford on top. As day 2 at the College World Series underway.
Play.
Oral Roberts and Florida winners yesterday.
Time to get him.
Well, you come out of the gate with all that coffee and you end up spinning one in there that hit Braden Montgomery, so it's now first and second.
Man, you can get as loose as you want to get. You can get the feel you want in that bullpen, but it's just something about, even with a delay, you hop up on the bump, and it's a totally different adrenaline flow that you get as a pitcher when you enter the game.
And I was really surprised that he did not warm up the entire time just here on this mound.
Yeah.
Alberto Rios now bats 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts to the Pac-12 Player of the Year. And there's a strike, 83 miles an hour. Fastball, slider, changeup. After an hour and 28-minute rain delay. Another big opportunity for Stanford to add on to a 1-run lead. Easy pitch there at 93 from Seth Keener.
Stanford's had some opportunities. I mean, 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position today. Wake Forest 0 for 2.
Ball.
Outfield continues to play really deep. The wind now gushing towards the left field foul line.
Yeah, blowing a lot harder than it had from right to left. One-two to Rios. Swings at it, and he strikes him out. So Keener, after hitting the first guy he faced, punches out Rios, who has struck out 3 times today.
Yeah, Seth Keener comes in and gets the job done. One hit by pitch, but not a problem when you got a spinner like that, and he gets Wake Forest off the field with that slider.
For Stanford, Nick Dugan, the freshman, is the next guy up. 6 feet, near 200 out of Eureka, California. And what a big spot for a freshman pitcher whose numbers aren't great. You can see him right there.
Yeah, making his 24th appearance of the year. Now, he can strike you out. 66 punch-outs in those 60 innings of pitch. Strikeout to walk ratio is solid, though, only 28 walks. But he does give up a lot of hits. Opponents hitting .310 off of Dugan this year. His fastball tick up to about 92, 93. Got a changeup, a curveball, and a slider as well. And he uses that fastball the most. He'll spin it up there about 45% of the time.
And reverse splits. All right, right-handers hitting .351 against him. Lefties hitting .265 against him.
He will get a right-handed hitter, Bennett Lee, at 7-8-9 for Stanford to deal with. And Wake Forest looking for some offense. Prolific offense this year. And the first pitch is in there for a strike.
When I see a right-handed pitcher that has reverse splits, in other words, right-handers hitting better, typically that tells you he has trouble getting the ball to his glove side, the fastball down and away.
But he's throwing strikes quickly. He's ahead 0-2. This NCAA tournament, Wake Forest is averaging 15 runs a game. And the 0-2 will not offer. Infield got to be ready. One thing that Dugan does when he does get hit, a lot of the balls have been on the ground. 52% of the balls in play have been grounders. Oh, it's a filthy pitch there. 83-mile-an-hour changeup, and Bennett Lee is gone. We've seen a ton of changeups from Joey Dixon. You wonder, Ben, given where we are with the numbers that Wake Forest offense has not been putting up today, is that an approach that Stanford recognized?
No doubt. I mean, I think Joey Dixon kind of showed you the way. He showed you the recipe for success, if you will, in Stanford. And Wake Forest had a little bit of trouble with the changeup so far today.
Well, they've been known for one thing. Hitting the fastball, they don't miss it. They don't miss spin either. They train themselves really well for it. But this pitch right here, the changeup, they have not. That's one thing that you have to give a lot of credit to the Cardinal staff in being able to identify that by looking at a lot of video.
0-2. Becerra shifts a little bit on the ball that's bounced up there. He's now on the second base side of second base.
And let's not forget the pattern that they've had the entire time. He just doubled up right there in the changeup. What have we seen after that? It's the fastball in on left-handed hitters.
They've moved the ball around. They've mixed pitch. They've pitched backwards, if you will. Stanford has all day long.
Now Cesare hits this one well. Shallow right. It's going to get down in front of Campbell. So a one-out single for Adam Cesare.
Changed it up. They went again with the changeup, and Cesare having a little life right there, getting on base. Give a lot of credit to Cesare as gets that base hit knock to get on base.
Merrick Houston's the 9-hole hitter, struck out, and then hit it back to the pitcher. Short lead for Cesare, infield playing him straight up. And he gets ahead 0-1. Freshman on freshman here in the College World Series. Again, the wind blowing hard from right field to left. Another really good pitch on the corner, and he's ahead 0-2.
Yeah, no problem getting it to his glove side right now with either the fastball or the breaking ball.
Ball.
Moore trying to frame it. David Savage wouldn't have it.
Well, we got to give Drew Dowd some love, too. First relief pitcher for Stanford. He was outstanding. 2 innings of work. He was perfect. Struck out 1.
1-2, and that ball was up, and you could see how Houston watched it all the way to the barrel.
Serious two-strike approach right here. Not trying to do too much. Almost looked like he's just trying to foul this ball off, extend the at-bat. Slider working away from him. He just kind of throws the hand first and just pokes the ball. Just foul down the right field line.
52% grounders, Carl. You said it earlier. They need one here.
1-2. That one's up. That's in the center field. And now it's first and second. Elevated pitch. Merrick Houston drops it in the center. To turn the lineup over to Tommy Hawk, and with one out, there are 2 men on.
Yeah, and for only the 3rd time today, Wake Forest gets a guy at second base. Watch this circle change. You can see the grip there, but I mean, it is letter high. And Merrick Houston knows exactly what to do with that two-strike approach. Lets the hands go first. The barrel follows it and just shoves this ball out in center field. And Wake Forest first and second, and only one out.
First 2 games here in Omaha were decided in the 9th inning. Here we are, bottom 7, and Wake Forest threatens, and now a meeting on the mound as the Wake Forest folks start to see we may have an opportunity. We talked about Dugan, who'd given up a bunch of hits, Ben, and here are 2.
I mean, this Wake offense, it's just too good. And when you leave balls up out over the plate, they're going to get hit, and they're normally going to get hit really hard. And Stanford has been, for a team that's had a 5.75 ERA coming into this thing, they have pitched it really well up to this point.
This is interesting right here. Ryan Bruno's warming up in the bullpen, but he has not thrown many pitches at all. They're trying to stall as much as they can in that Stanford to see if he can get loose as quickly as possible to face Tommy Hawk.
Yeah, when you talk about Ryan Bruno, you talk about a big, big arm from the left side, but he can scatter it from time to time. And you never know what you're going to get with Bruno, but when he's over the white part of the plate, forget about it. I mean, you just don't hit him. The problem with him is it can get a little scatter every now and then. Bruno on the year, 33 innings of work, 54 strikeouts, but 35 walks.
Just keeping an eye on Esker to see if he's going to allow Hawk to get in there and face Dugan.
Defense has to understand they will not be able to double up Tommy Hawk unless it's a line shot right at someone.
The outfield has come in a lot relative to where we've seen them play. So they're all crowded here for Tommy Hawk. First pitch, the changeup a little low. 1-0 to Hawk, who reached base on an infield single. Sasiri is at second. Houston is at first. Down a run with 1 out. And the next one to Hawk. He went back-to-back changeups on him.
Here's Bennett on deck, almost made a nice kick save there on that foul ball.
Bennett, Kurtz, Wilkin all waiting, see if they get a chance. Wilkin hit a homer in the 2nd inning. Nick Dugan may have gotten away with one there. That was hanging right down the center of the plate. Hawk didn't offer. Now ahead 1-2. Last couple of pitches he's elevated have been hit. And this one beaten into the ground. Second baseman backs up, and Bowser, the only play is to first. But there are 2 down. And the runner's now at second and third.
And while that play just finished, in the meantime, Rios in left field actually went over to Eddie Park and asked him for the shades. So it looks like the sun is starting to be a part of the equation here in left field.
Here's Pierce Bennett. Huge opportunity for the guy described by the head coaches as the biggest grinder on the team, gamer, the one you want up in a situation like this. He's got a hit now in 10 straight games after a single in the 3rd.
What a block.
Huge.
I mean, that is a freshman behind the plate.
And he caught that one with the glove. You know, I mean, you work hard not to use your glove to get your body in front of it, right? But this ball is pitched so far outside. Watch where this ball goes. It actually hits in the glove because just not enough time to get the body in front of it.
Bennett is a real hard guy to strike out. 156 hits his last 2 years. The 1-0. And a high chopper, that time charged. Becerra to first and a huge out. Nick Dugan gets out of it. Bennett unable to come through. Ball hit dirt. Becerra charged. We are through 7, and the Cardinals got themselves a 2-1 lead.
I think it's only a curse if you let it be a curse.
Like I said, we're coming here, we play the game. We're not worried about who we play, not worried about the seeding. It doesn't matter the team, we're just coming and playing.
It doesn't matter. Someone's got to break it.
That's certainly a storyline. Why has it been since 1999, Miami, the Hurricanes, the last overall 1 seed to come to Omaha and win it all? Since then, no team's been able to do it. That ball's outside as we begin the top of the 8th inning. Stanford protecting a 2-1 lead. Moore, Bowser, and Campbell. Big swing and a miss. All sorts of theories. Do you guys have a particular theory why a 1 seed has had such a hard time finishing the deal?
Well,
other than baseball is hard. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, but I think there is a little bit more to it, though. And I was able to come here in 91 and 93 with Florida State as a #1 seed both times. And the pressure's on. All the other teams, they don't have anything to lose, but you as the #1 seed coming in, you know that they're after you. They're going to throw, they're going to play their best game. And so far, you look at Stanford, they've played great defense, and they've executed really well.
2-2 to Moore, he's gone. Back-to-back punch-outs. Look, the other part of what Tom Walter said to us, how big a separation is there between a 1 seed and a 2 and a 3?
Look, I mean, go back to the last 3 years. Our last 3 #1 seeds have not even made it to Omaha.
Yeah.
That's how hard it is. Vanderbilt 3 years ago, Arkansas 2 years ago, and Tennessee had arguably the best team that we've seen maybe ever in the college game in my time anyway, and yet they don't even make it. So to me, it's not about being a #1 seed. It's just baseball's hard, and you got to be playing well, and the competition is so good now. Yeah. And if you have a little bit of a letdown and you don't bring your A game in regionals and super regionals, you're going to get upset, and that's what separates baseball from football, separates it from basketball, a lot of other sports.
3 straight sliders, 3 straight strikeouts now for Seth Keener, and that was quick work of Drew Bowser.
Seth Keener has gone to work, and this is more of a sweeping type slider right there. You see where it starts and where it ends up. It's a good fastball. You got to respect the mid-90s fastball. And boy, he can spin it in Wake Forest. They're trying to get it going.
Saborn Campbell squared the butt, and that one misses. And there's a lot of recognition that goes with being a 1 seed. Wake wasn't 1 until towards the end of the season, and Walter was saying, I walked into restaurants when we were the 1 seed and everybody started recognizing me. And he's like, I've been coming to this restaurant for 8 years. We've been #2 for a while. No one pays much attention to us.
Everybody loves #1.
The 1-1 to Campbell. That's pulled 2-1.
Tell you how special Keener's chase rate is. It's at 43%. Give a little perspective. D1 baseball, the chase rate, the average is 29%. That right there is nasty.
Look, it's a big arm. I mean, it's a mid-90s arm. And as a hitter, right, you got to get your foot down. You got to go. You got to gear up to hit 95. And when he spins it in there like that, especially on the outside part, good luck.
And it shows how good it is because you could see Campbell start to nibble on that, and it never was a strike. There's Rhett Lauder. He'll acknowledge he didn't have his A game, but he kept his team right in it. And the 3-2. Got him right there looking. 4 strikeouts in a row for Seth Keener. He did his job, and now it's turned over to the offense to do theirs. 14 hits combined. Stanford 9, Wake Forest 5. The biggest blast of the Wake Forest day, Brock Wilken hitting his 31st home run. It came in the 2nd, and here he will be in the on-deck circle after Nick Kurtz. He looks at a pitch that was a little down, 1-0. Kurtz, Wilkin, Justin Johnson, 3, 4, 5. Another one down.
We've been saying this all day. When is Wake Forest going to get to count in their favor like this and sit on a changeup? 2-0 count, right?
This is what they've done the entire.
This is what Stanford's done to them the whole afternoon.
Kurtz has 24 home runs of his own.
Ball.
Wow.
Real close, 3-0.
What a take. Even with the power, you have to respect it. But you know what? This could be another take right here.
Ball 4.
And now with some hot arms in the bullpen, what does that man do?
Well, big question is, what has the birthday boy done? And in the second inning, fastball in, Yahtzee. Blow out the candles on that one. That tied the game at 1 in the second inning.
So that's not Esker coming out, pitching coach. And they are going to the lefty.
Interesting call here, going to the lefty. Kurtz being a righty. Kurtz being a lefty, they did not go to the lefty during that moment. Instead, Brock Wilkin will see the lefty.
Wilkin gets set. Bruno comes in. Is it all on the line here in the bottom of the 8th? Game 1 for these two at the World Series.
I think it's scary from both sides because Ryan Bruno throws extremely hard. Might have one of the best arms here and doesn't always know where it's going. And that's clear by those numbers right there. He can strike you out. When he's over the white part of the plate, he is as good as anybody. 54 punch outs in 33 innings, but 35 walks to go along. It is a big arm that will tick up to the upper 90s with a really good changeup behind it. I mean, the changeup, believe it or not, even though he throws 97, may be better than the fastball.
One of the leaders of Wake Forest team who has, as he said, seen the floor and the ceiling. Tied with J.D. Drew all-time home runs in the conference. His dad Josh getting ready to see what his son can do.
This just feels like the make or break moment of this game right now. If Bruno is on his game, he could pick Stanford off the field. If he's not, it could get sideways for the Cardinals.
Real good start. 95 poured in there. Don't have to worry about a breaking pitch. He's only thrown 11 of those all year.
Ball.
There's a changeup.
That's a hard change. 89 miles per hour, 6 mile per hour differential between that pitch and the numero uno.
Kurtz is off first.
Ball.
2 balls and a strike. Another changeup.
Okay, the inability of not having been able to throw the changeup for a strike back to back. Will he go to the number 1? You're Wilkin. I'm sitting dead red 1.
Got to.
And he was, and that was one he would love to look at one more time. 95, though.
Yeah, he wasn't feeling for this one. You hear me? I mean, he was trying for a 2-run shot is what that swing was. But that is a big arm. It's got some spin to it. You can see the carry through the zone at 95. Now you don't know what you're getting.
Ball.
Ooh. Good frame there by Malcolm Moore. He didn't have to bring it in very far, but he missed it. It's a full count.
I actually come back right with it.
Well, a lot of times for a pitcher, whatever you throw 2-2, you throw it again 3-2 because you got a really good feel for it on a 2-2.
That's high and almost hit him, and that's a walk. First and second for the Deeks. Nobody out. Justin Johnson coming to the plate.
Justin Johnson had to be paying attention on deck, right? All the changeups he threw, none of them were even close. Only with the ability of throwing the number 1 for a strike.
The impact of that hour and 28-minute rain delay, having to move pitchers out of the game that you wanted to keep in. Esker looks on. Johnson squares to bunt, and he pulls it foul.
Got a whiff rate of 65% when that changeup is on. That's been that's been the entire season.
Graham still way in at first base. Squaring again, does get this one down. Third base unoccupied. They go to first, a low throw, but Graham's able to get it. And now runners in scoring position, one down. Johnson moves them up.
One of the most explosive offenses in the entire country, playing a little small ball here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Well, the hottest hitter over the last couple of weeks for Wake Forest is this guy right here, Danny Corona, the designated hitter.
And what you rarely see is a right-handed hitter facing a lefty, bunting him over for Corona, who's a lefty, to go left on left. But you said it earlier, only 11 breaking pitches the entire season.
He got a homer in his last 4 games. 6 homers on 8 total hits, 17 runs batted in. He leads the tournament in both long balls and RBI. Kurtz, the tying run at third base, time called.
Try to get him to settle down, stay in the zone.
Bill Salento is the hitting coach here, and man, has he done a great job.
Yeah, that swing by Corona felt a little bit long for me for a guy that throws 95. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't have to do too much here. Stanford's got the infield playing back. And so you see that as a hitter, right? And you just know if you just hit a routine everyday ground ball to the middle part of the infield, the game is tight. If it gets through, you got the lead.
Ball's outside.
Campbell playing very deep in right field, wind blowing towards left.
And in. Corona up the middle and through. That's going to bring in Kurtz. Wilkin is being laid, and he is in a clutch hit for the hottest hitter. Danny Corona puts the Deeks on top.
Know your personnel. That's exactly what the Wake Forest team is known for. Knowing your personnel. You bunt Johnson to make sure that Corona comes up big, and he has again.
2 more runs batted in. You wonder if the message from Salento was let's stay focused and go back up the middle. And a ground ball through, plates 2. He adds to his tournament RBI total, which leads the country. Bottom of the 8th, Wake Forest now leads 3-2.
And I think that's what the message was from Salento, third base coach, right? Listen, infield's playing back. Just hit me a ground ball if you can, right up the middle.
Let's tie the game up. We'll win it later. Let's tie it. Look, good things happen with that. With what you can do, and that's putting the ball in play.
0-2 to Bennett Lee. Wilmar chase. It's funny though, isn't it? On a team that's so loaded, when a guy just gets real hot at the right time and Corona comes up in a huge spot.
Another changeup.
Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Lee is gone. Wondered what impact that weather delay would have, and since 3 for 7 after having 3 hits through 21 at bats and the 2 runs.
Yeah, Deacons were 0 for 4 at runners in scoring position. Now 1 for 5. That one, a huge 2 RBI single.
That's way wide, and now into scoring position goes Corona. Adam Sasiri is a single his last time up, and he watches one right down the middle. 1 for 2. He struck out. He also walked. The biggest hit of the game from number 3 out there at second base, Danny Corona. Good pitch underneath his hands, a changeup at 86.
Left on left change. Fastball here.
Called strike 3. Back-to-back punch-outs. It will stay just a 1-run lead. We've seen a lot of ninth-inning magic over the first day. Here in Omaha, will we see more when the Cardinal come up? 9-1-2. Now a couple of walks, and then the single by Danny Corona has Ryan Bruno very, very upset. And on the other side, Wake Forest now brings their closer in, and they are 3 outs away from going 1-0 here in Omaha. And that is Cam Manassi, who will throw in any count a fastball or slider. And he has been outstanding this year with 12 saves, a whip of just $120 and 29 2/3, 44 strikeouts and 10 walks.
28th appearance of the year. Look at the ERA, 2.73, better than a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio.
Timo Becerra, the 9-hitter, leads off, and then we go back to the veterans, Eddie Park and Tommy Troy. Troy has been excellent, and if they can get to Carter Graham, he's got 3 hits already. Ten of his 12 saves came very early in the season. And when we gave you those scores, they've been beating teams by. There haven't been a lot of real save opportunities. First pitch, heat on the corner at 96.
Ball's outside.
Just outside. Guys, the 9-hole batters in the 9th innings yesterday. We talked about the 9th inning magic. How about the 9-hole hitters yesterday? Went 4 for 4, 2 homers, a triple, a single, and 5 RBIs. And this is a 9-hole hitter, and that one was right down Broadway, a slider at 86. 1-2.
Yeah, but after painting 96 and then throwing 197 in the corner from the batter's box, that looks nasty.
Manassi ready. This one beaten into the ground. The second baseman Johnson has to get rid of it quickly, and he does. There's 1 out.
Get that first out. It's an important one. Keep the momentum going. It's exactly what the Demon Deacons have been able to do the entire season this year. They just do not know how to lose.
#1 pitching staff in the entire country, and this bullpen has been outstanding so far. Sullivan, Keener, and now Manassi.
Eddie Park, the leadoff man, the veteran here at Omaha, looks at a slider on the outside corner. 0-1.
Demon Deacons just got the sign from the bench. Nothing over your head, but you do have to play him in, and the sun is affecting the left fielder right now.
Ball. Ball's outside.
Didn't miss by much. 2-1.
This is where Eddie Park just wants to get on base, slap the ball, get the big boys up.
That was cheese at 96.
That's just letting one rip. We may change his name to Cam McNasty before it's over.
Well, McNasty does not allow anything when he's got 2 strikes, a 120 batting average, and another grounder. This one is short. Bad hop, but hopped up on Merrick Houston, and a huge, huge break for Stanford. Petty Park is aboard on an error on Houston.
And I don't know if they were going to get him or not. Ball was hit softly. He was playing more towards third base side, and when he peaked up, and he peaked up early, I think he was thinking the same thing right here. He's going to grab it, just comes up on him, hits him right on the right hand. But he would have had to make a strong throw.
That ball did come up, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
I mean, had a lot of top spin.
Now Tommy Troy, DH last year, third baseman this year, 2 hits and a walk. Back up the middle, double play ball, fielded, Johnson to first, double play to end it. Boy, and Manasseh did a heck of a dance to get out of the way of that ball and not have it hit him.
You know where your defense is, right?
He sure did.
You throw it, I know my weakness. It's not the glove.
Ryder was the only guy that gave up runs today, 2 of them. The bullpen of Sullivan, Keener, and Manasseh were outstanding. 3 2/3, no runs, just 2 hits. They kept him in the game, and then the biggest hit of the game came off the bat of Danny Corona.
Yeah, it looked like a breaking ball hit right back up the middle, and somehow Manasseh gets out of the way right to the second baseman. Johnson, who steps on the bag, and over to Kurtz. First double play of the day for either team, and this ends the ball game. And Wake Forest beats the Cardinal 3-2.
That's a big one right there. You know, one thing, in order to be good, not only do you have to pitch, you have to hit, but you better play defense. And you better pick up your teammates, and that's exactly what happened right there. Manasseh picking up his defense.
This Wake Forest team is good. 1 base hit today with runners in scoring position, but it was Corona that came up big with a 2 RBI. And how about Manasseh, huh?
I like where you are with Manasseh. He was terrific in his relief appearance. And Stanford suffers the loss. A final score of 3-2. And so far we've had 3 games, and they have all been decided late. Danny Corona has been the hottest hitter for Wake Forest, and a single up the middle. Wake's 2, and that's how Wake ends up winning their first game 3-2.
Yeah, it's been Danny Corona coming up big after a big swing 0-0. Shortened it up, got it right back up the middle. Danny Corona, who we saw in the Super Regionals, get to know Mike Farron really well in the conversations, does it again here in the College World Series.
Danny's ball wasn't a lot different than the one that Troy hit, which led to the double play right back up the middle. They just had it fielded differently. Danny.
Yeah, guys, Danny Corona, what did Bill Salento tell you before that at bat in the go-ahead?
He told me to take a deep breath. I was a little jumpy on the first swing. Just let it come to me, look for something to drive, and it played out in my favor.
Coach Walter told us earlier this morning that you've had to be patient on this team. How has your patience paid off?
It's paid off tremendously. I would chase earlier in the year, and just staying disciplined to my zone, knowing the pitches I could drive, that's helped me out throughout the stretch.
What'd you do during the delay to stay ready for that moment?
We wanted to stay loose. We bumped some music, have some fun in the locker room, played hacky sack, played some card games, dancing, just getting ready to come back out and do what we do best.
You've had one of the hottest bats in the postseason in the entire country. What's the key for you?
Just stay calm, look for pitches to drive, and don't let the moment get too big for me.
Thank you. Go enjoy it.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right, Danny, thank you very much. So all 3 College World Series games decided in the team's last at bat. And all close. 1-run game here. 3-2 the final score.